So in the previous class we had discussed generally about the ethical principle, what is ethics, and declaration of Helsinki, and also we came across with principle of Helsinki. Today let us see about Nuremberg Code. Nuremberg Code was implemented in order to get control over the unethical practices. So it is a set of research ethic principle for human experimentation. It's created by the USA. So it is declared in the Nuremberg. So it is a city in Germany. So where a set of rules have been given. Here 10 points rules can be observed. Based upon this experimentation on human volunteers should be carried out. Some of the points which include is required the voluntary, well-informed, understanding consent of the human subject in full legal capacity. So that only with the knowledge of the participants along with the willingness only he should be taken. And the experiment should aim at positive result for society that cannot be produced in some other way. Whenever no options are available, then only the experimentation should be done. And experiment should be based on previous knowledge. For example, an expectation derived from an animal experimentation may be the base to start the experiment, such that justification of the experiments can be done by using the old existing data. The experiment should be set up in a way that avoid unnecessary physical and mental suffering as well as injury, except in experiments where the experimental physician also serves as subjects. It should not be conducted when there is any reason to believe that it implies a risk of death or disability injury. These are few points which was declared under Nuremberg Code. It also include the risk of experiment should be in proportion to the expected humanitarian benefits. The preparation and facility must be provided that adequate protect the subjects against the experimental risk. The staff who is conducting or take part in the experiment must be fully trained and scientifically qualified. So now in ICMR only the scientific and the person who are having skill with the particular area only should undertake the experiments. Even the human subject must be free to immediately quit the experiment at any point when they feel physically or mentally unable to go on, so that the right of the subject should be honored. Likewise, the medical staff must stop the experiment at any point when they observe the continuation would be dangerous. So now here overall 10 points will focus about the participant, the study subject. So here the points have been framed such that safetyness as well as respect to the subject have been considered under the 10 points under Nuremberg Code. So let us continue with the ethical committee. For what to submit to the ethical committees? So now a lot of experimentations will be done in order to improve the existing medication and the system. So now who are going to submit the ethical committee? Say for example any pharmaceutical substances or new drug, if you are screening it under clinical trial. So before doing human experiments, ethical committee permission is required. Even medical devices which is used for surgery or some diagnostic purpose, it can be used, example medical radiation and imaging. Even many of the surgical procedure, new innovation in the existing surgical procedure, so that they also should undertake ethical committee approval before starting. Even medical records, biological samples, epidemiological, social and psychological investigations. So many times for retrospective or prospective studies, we depend on the medical records where identity of the patient sometimes it may become mandatory. In such condition also, in order to safeguard the rights of the patient, so now ethical committee permission may require. So these are the areas where ethical committee permission is essential. So let us see about prerequisites for effective IRB functioning. So now IRB represents the Independent Review Board. So now this board is essential for running an effective IRB. So the IRB should be independent from the institution. Head of the institution should not be the head of the IRB, so that independent decision cannot be carried out under head of the institution. Always the chairperson should be from other institutions. So thereby there will be a lot of scopes for making independent decision, and all the members under the committee should give their democratic opinion, such that the committee should work democratically. All members will be having their own opinion for a particular research. So once the chairperson is from out of the, so these are the overview of ethical review procedures. So in this video we will be coming across with the basic responsibilities of IRBs, how the composition is done, then terms of references, training programs, regulation, review procedures, and submission of applications, decision making procedures. So then different types of reviewing processes anyhow will be discussing, like periodic reviewing, continuing reviewing, interim reviewing, monitoring. At the end, like record keeping also plays an important role. Once the ethical approval committee got sanctioned, so then it's mandatory to maintain and follow up the research work which is ongoing in the institution. And also we'll be focusing on the special considerations. Let us see about the basic responsibilities. The main purpose of framing ethical committee is to safeguard the rights, safety and well-being of the trial subjects. Earlier also we came across with the two set of rules in order to safeguard the rights of the study subjects. It also ensures and verifies that universal ethical values and safety standards are followed in a view, especially matching to the local community values and customs, because there should not be any controversial between the universal ethical values as well as the local tradition or custom values. Slight modification can be made if all the members will give positive opinion in the ethical committee to match the local rules. It also helps in the development and education of the research committee responsible to the local health care and the requirement, because series of lectures or seminars related to the same topic will be carried out by the committee members, which will help the local healthcare requirements to improve their knowledge. So let us see about the composition. Let us see like how many people are required to frame a committee and what are their qualifications and requirements. So here a reasonable number of members who collectively have the qualification and experience to review and evaluate the science, medical aspects and ethics of the proposed trials can make a committee, and that can be functioning throughout the year. Now let us see who are the member can be observed, because there we have used the word reasonable members. So now here multidisciplinary and multisectorial peoples are required. So independent and competence are the two hallmark of the committee, because here even the chairman and other members also from outside institutions can be observed. Here in order to make a committee, so total number of people required may range from 8 to 12. So maximum of 15 members is recommended. Then for framing a quorum, minimum of 5 members are essential. So now here the quorum represents the minimum number of committee members are essential for a meeting to sanction the protocol. If less than 5, that such meeting cannot be conducted, so that will be get cancelled. So thereby minimum 5 members are essential to give suggestions and to give permission for the protocol. Then as we know, like chairperson, always he should be outside the institution, and the member secretary should be from the same institution. So now why the member secretary should be from the same institutions? Suppose if you are selecting member secretary from outside of the institution, for arranging the meeting and for follow-upping from the outsider, it will become difficult because he will be also from outside. For arranging the meeting, always a member secretary should be from the same institution. Then we have some other category here where we have a mix of medical and non-medical, scientific and non-scientific person, even lay persons from the community also taken. So in order to see their perception regarding the protocol, even adequate representation of age and gender should be matched. Even subject experts, if required in a particular protocol reviewing, so even they are also included among the 15 members committee. So now let us see about the terms of references, the scope and limitations of an activity or area of knowledge. So even this is having some limitation also. So now here to include terms of appointment. So these are the works or the scope of the committee, and also they frame standard operating procedures. The purpose of framing standard operating procedure is to conduct the research work in a smooth way, and in order to maintain uniformity among all the team members, this SOP will be prepared, and it should be available with all the members in the team of research so that uniformity can be maintained. So written SOPs to be updated periodically based on the changing requirement. Even extension of membership for another term may also be considered. Preferable to appoint persons trained in bioethics or person conversant with ethical guidelines and law of the country are preferable for inclusion. Suppose if a person who is under the committee, if you want to resign from it, either he can nominate the person by himself, or the committee chairperson may appoint a fresh member. So they have to fill a document for the documentation purpose. So nomination of substitute member in case of continuous missing of a meeting by a member due to illness or other unforeseen circumstances can also be conducted. Either it can be done with the prior notice to the existing member, or the member himself can nominate. So let us see various terms of appointment or policy for removal or resignation or replacement. Because oftenly once a committee made, so there may be many reasons for replacing, or sometimes the existing member may resign also. Now what are the purpose? Let us see. To establish policies for removal or resignation or replacement of the member. So now who will have the responsibility of it? Chair member as well as the member secretary are responsible for implementing this standard operating procedure. A separate standard operating procedure will be made for appointment as well as replacement of the members in the committee. So now coming with the procedure, term of appointment members of independent ethical committee will be appointed for a period of 2 years. Initially, which could be extended for another 2 years if the members are willing to extend. Extension of the membership will be based on the recommendation of the chair member as well as the member secretary of the institutional ethical committee. So in the next video, so let us continue our discussion related to the policy for removal of the member, and also let us see about the responsibility of each member in the committee.